Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Norton. I'm back, and this is the last homework assignment before the unit test. This is homework 15.7, and we're doing all of staying sharp. So let's practice one more time before we take that unit test. Okay, the graph shows the inequality y is greater than greater than negative 3/2 x plus 14. So this is asking, does point A satisfy the inequality? Explain your answer. Well, there's different ways we can go about it, but I think I want to know, I was just finding the coordinates of point A. Well, where is point A on the coordinate plane? Well, from the origin, it's over 2, so the x value is 2, and up 8, so the y value is 8. So it is at the coordinates 2/8. Now that I have an xy pair, I can replace the xy in my inequality and evaluate it and see if it makes the statement true. Remember, we talked on the last assignment that the word satisfy just means doesn't make it true. I'll come over here. We have a little more space. Rewrite the inequality. Now I'm going to replace the y with 8, the y value from my point. I'm going to put a question mark here above my inequality because I'm trying to find out if 8 is going to be bigger than what I get on the right side. Negative 3/2, and then I'm going to replace x with 2 plus 14. Alrighty. So, continuing on, I'm going to evaluate this right side. Negative 3/2 times 2. Well, this becomes negative 3. When I multiply this, I can put this, remember, in my calculator. I can put negative 3 divided by 2 in parentheses and multiply that by 2. And I will end up with negative 3 plus 14, still bringing my 14 down. Okay, bring my 8. I'm still wanting to know, is 8 greater than negative 3 plus 14? Well, let's see. Negative 3 plus 14, that will be 11. So, let's look at this. Is 8 bigger than 11? Not a chance. It's smaller. So, I'm going to put a slash through that sign because that is not true. So, does point A satisfy the inequality? Absolutely not. My explanation's right here. When I substitute the x and y values of that point, it doesn't make the inequality true. Now it asks me to does point B satisfy the inequality? Well, you know what? I'm going to make a prediction that it does, because notice that this graph is shaded to the right, and I see that my y values, according to the inequality, were supposed to be bigger. And when I think of y values bigger, it would have been the space above the line, which is right here on my graph. And this is definitely above. But let's check it the same way. What are the coordinates of point B? Well, let's see. On the x-axis, that's at 9. And on the y-axis, that's at 5. So it's the coordinates 9, 5. Let's come over here. Again, I'm going to rewrite my inequality. Y is greater than negative 3/2 x plus 14. I'm going to replace the y with 5. 5 is greater than negative 3/2. This time the x value is 9 times 9 plus 14. Again, I'm asking a question. Is this true? Okay, so is 5 greater than negative 3/2 times 9? That will be negative 3 times 9 is negative 27 divided by 2, negative 13.5. I did that in my head, but again, remember, you can do that in your calculator. You can put this fraction, negative 3 divided by 2, in parentheses in your calculator, and then times 9. Okay, I still have plus 14. Still wondering if 5 is bigger than this. So 5 over here, negative 13.5 plus 14. What am I left with? 0.5. Notice this was a negative. So, is this true? Is 5 bigger than 0.5? Absolutely. So, does point B satisfy the inequality or make it true? Yes, it does.
Alright guys, here we go with number 2. I'm being asked to graph the function rules y equals 8 minus x and y equals 5 minus x on the coordinate plane that we're given. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is look at y equals 8 minus x and decide what I can pick out of that that's going to be helpful for me when graphing. And so the first thing I see is that this is in slope-intercept form. I just have the intercept written before the slope. So in this case, my y-intercept would be at 8. So I'm going to go to the y-axis and I'm going to go up to 8. All right. And then this indicates that my slope is minus 1, right? So I need to go down 1 and over 1. So I could continue plotting points for that line, but I also could notice the quick pattern and draw in a line. Let's get a line and wish me luck. All right. There's my line. Now I have y equals 5 minus x. So again, I have this slope-intercept form. It's just written backwards. We're used to maybe seeing the slope first and then the intercept. But I can see that any number attached to an x would indicate my slope. So my y-intercept is at 5. And my slope is at negative 1, so down 1 over 1. Now, if I have the same slope, what do I know about these two lines? That's right, I know that they're going to be parallel. So let me draw in my line real quick. Okay, so if my lines are parallel, let's look at number 3. Do they have an intersection point? So will they ever intersect if they are parallel? No. And we know that because why? Because the lines are parallel and parallel lines will never intersect. So no, because I'm going to use the notation for parallel. Parallel lines never intersect. Wow, bear with me. Okay, and that's that. Alright guys, here we are, the last two. So, number 4 is telling me to graph this function rule y equals negative 2x plus 7 on the grid. Okay, again, much like numbers 2 and 3 that we just did. Here, it's in slope-intercept form. So I know that my slope is a negative 2 and my y-intercept is a positive 7. So I'm going to start with my y-intercept, go to the y-axis, and go up to 7, right here. Alright, now I have my slope is a negative 2, so that's like a negative 2 over 1, right? So I'm going to go down 2 over 1. Okay, down 2 and over 1. Now, from there, really, I only need how many points to graph a line? Right, I only really need 2. So I've already done one more than I probably needed to. So let's draw in our line. I should have arrows going both ways, but this will work. Uh-oh, it's not on. Let's see here. See if I can adjust. Okay, let's see what I can do. I think it's pretty close. Okay. So now I have answered number 4. There's my graph. Did I get through? Yes. All right, now I have to use the graph. Okay, sorry about that. Now we're back, and I need to use the graph that we just made here and solve for the equation 9 equals negative 2x plus 7, and I'm looking for what is x. So this is asking what is x when y, because it should be y equals here, when y is 9. Okay, and so I'm using my graph, and we can see here's 7, here's 8, here's 9. Well, we also know that the slope was negative 2, so if I wanted to continue the line up, I would have gone over 1 and up 2, and we can see that luckily our line was pretty accurate and did intersect where we would expect. So if y were 9, what would x be at? It would be at negative 1. So we would say that x is equal to negative 1. All right, guys, that was it for your homework on 15.7. Remember, tomorrow's the big test, the unit test, so good luck. I hope this helped you, and we will see you tomorrow.
Good luck, guys. Work hard tonight.
Good luck.